What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Joe Commish Show. It's your boy, Joe Commish. And if it's your first time watching, me casa, su casa. And we're going to be doing Rich Draft, Poor Draft, where we go over two teams with two very different scenarios going into the NFL Draft. One team just traded away their left tackle for an additional first, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. And the other team, the Indianapolis Colts, traded away their third-round pick for what they think is their potential future at the quarterback position, Carson Wentz. Two different scenarios, same goal. They want to get over the top. They want to go from contender to winner in the NFL. So let's help them out. Let's go. So essentially, what Rich Draft, Poor Draft is, aside from a play on Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is that we're going to take two teams with two very different scenarios going into the draft. And they got to do the best with it, right? So the Baltimore Ravens just traded away their left tackle Orlando Brown to the Kansas City Chiefs for an additional first and then just an additional third this year. And then the Indianapolis Colts traded away their third-round pick along with packaged future picks to get Carson Wentz. And I chose these two teams because none of these teams are in the quarterback market, because if you're in the quarterback market in this year's draft and you nail the quarterback, you win the draft. So I wanted to do teams who need to get the other positions right, and they need to, because what it is about these two teams and why these two teams in particular, both these teams have been playoff teams or on the cusp teams, as you may say, but they've never been legit contenders, or they haven't gone that next step, which is get to a Super Bowl or even a conference championship. And I think this is the year where teams like this have to make that decision and make that leap. They have to get over that hump. And the best way to do it is through a draft. So we're going to go over what I would do in their shoes, given the amount of picks they have going into the draft, to make the best of their offseason and give them the best chance scenario to get past the hump, get into the playoffs, make it far into the playoffs, a deep playoff run. To me, that's a successful season. Both of these teams have major needs, but both of these teams don't need a quarterback, so they get to go in and play the game of skill position game. So let's go. We're going to choose, let's do a 3-round mock, because these teams, because the Baltimore Ravens had to give their second round up. So let's do a 3-round, because then we get 4 picks from Baltimore and 2 picks for Indianapolis. So, and we're going to do this fast because I don't want to take too long with you guys here. All right, so we started the mock. Here we go. Let me close this out. Come on. I'm seeing this ad. I'm not interested in this ad. Very well. Let's do it again. Okay. So now we're at number 21. The Colts go before Baltimore. Their 2 picks are later in the draft. And at 21, let's just go over who's been picked. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks off the board with the first 3 picks. Kyle Pitts goes to at 4 to the Atlanta Falcons, and Penei Sewell goes to the Bengals. I think that's the right choice. Jamar Chase to the Dolphins, Waddle to the Lions, Rashawn Slater to the Panthers. I have no qualms with any of these picks. Trey Lance to the Broncos, Patrick Surtain to Dallas, J.C. Horn. That's the one that's a little too high for me, but that's fine. Farley to the Eagles. None of these picks. Mac Jones falls to New England at number 15. Michael Parsons falls to number 16. Insane. Devonta Smith falls to number 20. That's incredibly unlikely, but maybe his stock is falling as much as they say he is, because he weighed in 166. It's pretty crazy. So the big 2 needs for the Indianapolis Colts, and we're sitting at their pick now. They say it's old offensive tackle, cornerback, wide receiver. I believe is edge offensive tackle. Now you say, oh, but their tackle just retired. Yes, and I'm an O-line guy. I'm an O-line over D-line guy for sure, because I've seen the impact of what O-line can do for a quarterback and for receivers and for the offense in general. But the rest of their offensive line, they have 4 really good offensive linemen. That group, and remember, blocking, offensive blocking, especially schematically, it's a group effort. They produce from in sync. They have to be in sync, and it's a group production. And that's how pass protection and run blocking happens. So I believe they can withstand a more developmental tackle than they can a more developmental edge coming out of the draft. So we need a more NFL ready defensive edge, defensive lineman, because we don't have any edge. We can't bank on Justin Houston coming back. So literally we have Forrest Buckner, Grover Stewart, and those are our two real guys that have been producing for us. Aside from maybe the guys, our young guys that we hope take a step forward in Kamoga Toure and Tyquan Lewis. But we need edge, and we need a guy who's ready to play now. I'm not gonna take. I love Jalen Phillips. If we were drafting in a vacuum, and if we were just being objective from sheer talent, Jalen Phillips would be my second best defensive end off the board. Kwity Paye would be first, and then it'll be Jalen Phillips, and then Azeez Ojulari. But I have Kwity Paye as my defensive end one. I think Azeez Ojulari is cleaner. He's a little more day one ready. But Kwity Paye is just another freaky athlete, and I think he didn't get to perform the entire pro day as he wanted to. Yes, he ran a 4.58, which is insane, and the straight line speed is not what makes him a special athlete. What makes him a special athlete is that he's 261 and he can change directions extremely quickly, like the famous L-cone drill that he's done, 3-cone drill. So he didn't even get to do that in the pro day, and yet he still tested out the charts. Kwity Paye goes 21, and I really hope that he falls to the Indianapolis Colts at 21. Okay, so now we're at number 27, and since that 21st pick that we had with the Colts, we had Rashad Bateman, Azeez Ojulari, Elijah Vera Tucker, Trayvon Moehrig, and Christian Barmore come off the board. Like I said, no qualms with any of those picks. And now we're sitting at Baltimore with the Baltimore Ravens at number 27. The first of their first round picks, them having two altogether. Okay. So I know they lost Judon, so the team needs here. They say edge, offensive tackle, safety, wide receiver, edge again. I don't really have that as my. Honestly, who's left? We have a good tackle left. I need to stop pop-ups, man. This is crazy. Landon Dickerson, Sam Cosmi, Liam Eichenberg, Creed Humphrey. I don't see any top. Jalen Phillips is still here, which is crazy. But realistically speaking, I think I would go Jason Oweh here. I think that's the type of, they like big athletic guys in Baltimore. They love their defensive guys, and Jason Oweh is Matthew Judon 2.0 in terms of athletic ability. And if I can bank on any team developing him, I know he's extremely raw as an edge defender, but if I could bank on any team developing him into and optimizing his potential is the Baltimore Ravens. So at 27, you get Jason Oweh. And then we go again at number 31. So Jalen Phillips goes off the board, Greg Newsome, Joe Tryon, and then we still have our pick of the litter. And here, we have, I think, this is tough, man. Trayvon Moehrig's off the board. So we have Elijah Moore. Let's see what wide receivers we have on the board still. So wide receivers, we have Elijah Moore, Kadarius Toney, Terrace Marshall, Rondell Moore. None of those guys will make it back to us. Meanwhile, in tackle, let's see interior offensive lineman. Yeah. These four: Landon Dickerson, Creed Humphrey, Wyatt Davis, Quinn Miners, the Senior Bowl stud. I'm good. And Kendrick Green, they have him ranked way too low from Illinois. I have 5 interior linemen that I can go get. Let me see linebackers. None of these guys, honestly. The great linebackers are gone already. So honestly, the best one, I think Elijah Moore. If you could get man. So he's not a Lamar guy. Lamar is not a small speedster. Like we already got Marquise Brown. Okay. Najee Harris, Elijah Moore, Jamin Davis. I'm gonna go. Let's get our tackle. Let's get him here. I'm gonna go Dylan Radins. Dylan Radins, and then you plug that hole that you just got from Orlando Brown. Now, will he be Orlando Brown? Probably not. Orlando Brown was a Pro Bowl tackle. What you do have is you have a cheaper asset at this point, and with the potential to be Orlando Brown. So in the second round, we're here at number 54 with the Indianapolis Colts. So we went Kwity Paye in the first. Now here we have some guys. We have some guys here. I don't like the wide receivers available to us here. And we do need. I don't like the wide receivers available to us here, but let me see wide receiver. Nah. Tackle. I don't see anybody that I'm really loving at this point. Now, Wyatt Davis. The thing with Wyatt Davis is that he's pigeonholed. He's a guard. There's no moving him to tackle. Tight end. Pat Fryermuth is still here. Yeah. I think I'm going to go with Pat Fryermuth here at number 54. I think he gives us both receiving and blocking. He gives us both the receiving and blocking ability from the tight end position. Jack Doyle's getting old, and part of pass protection is the tight ends. You know, Frank Reich loved rolling out his tight ends. He loves rolling out that 12 personnel. The Indianapolis Colts are a run first team. They're not a pass first team. So we're back on the board with the Baltimore Ravens. And so far, the Baltimore Ravens have chosen edge Jason Oweh and tackle Dylan Radins. Love it. Let's see what we got at safety. At safety, a Darius Washington on the board. I love a Darius Washington. I think he should be going way higher than this. Now let's see who we got at wide receiver, because we didn't choose a wide receiver. Oh. It's a wide receiver. Tylan Wallace. Tylan Wallace is a step above the rest. I think you can take Tylan Wallace. I think he has good catch radius. He's the type of guy you need to get for Lamar Jackson. So Tylan Wallace here, I think, is a good pick. And then we pick again at 104. And if I had to be honest, so we come up with an edge, we come with a tackle, and we come with a wide receiver. That team needs a linebacker. It needs a linebacker bad. So let's see what linebackers are available. Dylan Moses. Of course, Dylan Moses is available. In the fourth, you get Dylan Moses. What a draft. I think that's a great draft. You cannot go wrong with this. So let's go user picks. So Indianapolis Colts come away with their edge defender of the future. A guy who's legit. It's not going to fail you. I don't believe Kwity Paye is going to fail you. He's my defensive end one in the draft. Kwity Paye. Then you also come away with Pat Fryermuth. This guy helps both in the run game, the pass protection, both run game, blocking, and pass protection, and he's a receiving option. He's the second best tight end off the board. I think if you come away with those two in the first two picks, you have guys that will contribute and impact your team this upcoming year sooner than later. You don't have to wait. There's not much developing that has to go on with those two. Those are NFL ready guys. And the Baltimore Ravens, you let Matthew Judon goes, you get Jason Oweh. He has higher ceiling than Matthew Judon, and you guys have probably one of the best edge developmental programs there in Baltimore. Then you replace Orlando Brown with Dylan Radins. You get a tackle. And people forget they signed Zeitler. Remember, the Giants let go of Zeitler. God knows why. I have no idea. And then the Baltimore Ravens quickly picked him up. And I know he's a guard, but that's still fortifying that O-line. So your O-line is going to be fine once you added Zeitler, which you didn't have last year. And yes, Orlando Brown's gone, but you get Dylan Radins. And if you still want to sign Alejandro Villanueva, I'm sure he's going to come cheap, and you still get him at a depth piece. Come on. And then you give a receiving option. You give another receiving option to Lamar Jackson, which I know everyone wants to go receiver high. But if you get Tylan Wallace and you get him in the third round, you can't go wrong with that. And then you need linebacker help, man, because Patrick Queen has not worked out. In fact, last year he was probably more of a liability than a contributor for that defense. Patrick Queen was probably you were better off playing with 10. You were almost better off playing with 10 people on the field on defense than you were than having Patrick Queen there. And I'm sorry, no disrespect to Patrick Queen. He was just really bad last year. And hopefully he takes a step up. But you need a linebacker. And Dylan Moses, I think, is a great linebacker that you got in the 3rd round. So you come away with 4 pieces that are going to play. These 4 pieces are going to play. And this is why I chose these 2 teams. One team had 2 picks, and they need to make the most impact they could with 2 picks. And I think that was the Indianapolis Colts, and I think with those 2 picks, these guys are going to play day one. They're going to impact and help you. They're going to contribute quality snaps day one. And so with the Baltimore Ravens, you have 4 picks to get that team better. You lost an asset in your tackle, but you got his replacement. You added to your defensive line, who you lost a piece in free agency to. And then you add another receiving option, and you fortify. You add a dart throw to that linebacker core that you need help at. I would love to get go higher in a wide receiver, but just the way the board fell, Tylan Wallace was your best bet. I would take Dylan Radins over the wide receivers that are available at 31. Good draft for both teams. I think all these players contribute day one, and maybe I'm not sure if they put them over the top, but you definitely come in with a better team than you did last year. So that's it. That's our drafts. Thank you for watching to the end. I appreciate you, especially the part where you hit that like button, and you hit that subscribe button, and you hit the little bell thing that goes right next to it, because that and then helps the algorithm. That helps me, helps you. Come on, man. See you later.